Hello class, this is Michael. I'm going to present my business plan for homeschool coaches. I broke down the presentation into several sections. We'll start off with the executive summary. We'll follow up with the homeschool business, and then we'll talk about the service with products and technology. To give you some background on the homeschooling landscape, I found parents are becoming more passionate and focused on controlling their children's education. They are exploring options to control what their kids are being taught. Many of these parents are turning to alternative options such as homeschooling. The U.S. Department of Education and the U.S. Census Bureau estimates 1.5 million children are being homeschooled, and they found homeschooling is growing at a rate about 15% per year. Now a little about the company. Homeschool Coaches is a privately held small business. It was established in 2014. Initially, it was started just to facilitate the needs of a few homeschoolers. The business offered basic tutoring services such as English, math, and reading. However, the company grew steadily since its 3 years in operations. Homeschool Coaches primarily operated offering services for instructors, tutors, and classes. In 2018, the company plans to add 2 more additional service offerings to its core services. Homeschool Coaches serves the homeschooling communities of the Inland Empire, San Bernardino, Orange, and Los Angeles counties. The core services offering encompass tutoring, instructor services, classes such as reading, math, and English, sciences, and music. The expanded services in 2018 will include co-op workshops. This is to start the first quarter of 2018. It aims to increase the instructors and co-ops partnerships. And then our online program, which will start mid-year. This is an emerging segment that we plan to capture the virtual market of online classroom segment. Homeschool Coaches plans to target instructors and homeschooling parents who are looking to start co-ops. Our market research found a strong demand for co-ops. There are simply not enough co-ops in the homeschooling community. This is due to startup costs of a co-op and then some administrative burden that we found during the research. The creation of new co-ops lends to increasing business for homeschool coaches. For our online program, we plan to target the homeschooling parents and children, the homeschooling students from K to 12. The differentiator of the online classroom program will be live, it will be real-time, and it will be interactive. Here we have the entrepreneurial team at Homeschool Coaches who is in charge of casting the vision and mission of the company. Now a summary of the financials. Homeschool Coaches reached break-even point during the second half of 2017. The company's strategic financial position emphasizes on reinvestment of earnings to grow the business. The company plans to launch 2 major initiatives in 2018. That's the co-op workshop as well as the online classroom program. A capital investment of $75,000 is required. The company believes in 2 years of these major initiatives, sustainable income will be achieved, as well as initial repayment of capital investments will be possible. HSC plans to fund growth of the company internally after this initial fundraising, and the company expects to grow the business 30% year over year out to 2020. HSC only anticipates 1 round of fundraising. The majority of the $75,000 capital investment will be allocated to the online classroom program, while the remaining portion will be allocated to the co-op workshops. Now, Homeschool Coaches is a small business established in 2014 by the owner, Abigail Lai, registered as a limited liability company, S Corporation. It's located in Doherty, California. Its primary focus is to provide customizable, highly interactive classes to the homeschooling community of the Inland Empire, San Bernardino, Orange, and Los Angeles counties. During the 3 years that HSC has been in operations, it has grown to 60 instructors and have partnerships with 6 major co-ops. HSC's mission is to support the homeschooling parents and their children's educational goals through highly interactive, customizable lessons taught by experienced instructors who understands the requirements and needs of the homeschooling community. HSC's top priority is to drive innovation to provide a rich and nurturing learning environment for the homeschooling community. HSC's objective is to become the market leader in serving the homeschooling community by providing in-home instructions on life subjects from experienced instructors who come to the home or the classroom with personalized instructions to enhance the children or child's natural learning skill. Now, the short-term goal of HSC is to generate 1.5 million in revenue by 2020. It wants to become the top 5 vendors listed in the Southern California for homeschooling services, and it plans to convert 25% of the classroom instructional classes to HSC's online classroom program by 2020. The long-term goal for the company, it plans to double services for charters, homeschooling programs, and co-op programs. The company wants to establish HSC branded co-op in each region it operates, and the company wants to generate 50% of the company's revenue from the online class programs. A summary of the market analysis found National Home Education Institute estimated 1.5 to 2 million students are being homeschooled in the U.S., and the number is growing at a rate to about 7 to 10% each year. The U.S. Department of Education included in their research of 16 states, which represents about 27% of the school-age children in the United States. The mean change of the sample over a 4-year study found that there was a 26% increase in homeschooling. This growth rate confirms the rising market demand for homeschooling. Tim Parker, research partner of the Investopedia, found most parents who homeschool spent about $600 per year per child. Taking these figures into account from Parker and McQuinney, the homeschool market capitalization is estimated at about $1 billion. Homeschool coaches found very little competition from co-ops. As a matter of fact, research from interviews with co-op directors found virtually all co-ops were in need of tutors and instructors. And while parents can be counted as competition towards HSC's tutors and instructors, we found that they were more preoccupied with the day-to-day care of their children. This leaves a gap and opportunity for HSC to be a fulfillment center for these type of co-ops in the form of augmenting their faculty's workload. In addition, the category of online classes, HSC found that these companies such as Khan and Lynda and possibly even Teachable, which provides traditional online classes, more geared towards downloadable lessons, and they really missed the mark on being focused on the homeschool community. These type of companies, the lack of real-time interaction with instructors were the main disadvantage of these services that we found. Now, the HSC market survey of existing instructors, tutors, and co-ops found that the fixed cost model currently employed was actually an inhibitor of growth and recruitment to the instructors, tutors, and co-ops. But being a member of HSC, that provided them access to HSC's accounting, purchasing systems, calendaring, scheduling, HSC's affiliations to charters and homeschools, and all the umbrella policies, insurance would be covered as well under this membership. Now, in the year 2018, starting that calendar year, HSC plans to convert all of its existing instructors, tutors, and co-ops to the new flexible fee-based transaction model. What this means for instructors, tutors, and co-ops is that they will be paying a significantly less annual membership to access HSC's network and systems. And then additionally, members will now be only charged a transaction fee per purchase order they put through HSC's system. Now, under the fixed cost model, the pricing conditions there, we modeled that out from 2017 to 2020. We can see that in 2018, we grow roughly 14%. In 19, we grow 13%. In 20, we grow 11% for instructors. And for co-ops, we roughly grow 20 to 17% in that range. Based on the fee-based transaction model, in that pricing condition, we can see that the growth rate for instructors across the board is about 23%, and with co-ops, we see that it's nearly 50% across the board. So with the fee-based transaction model, the pricing condition here that we see projected in 2018, 19, and 2020 is that revenue growth would be dramatically increased. We can see that in 2020, we would be hitting about nearly $950,000 worth of revenue for purchase orders, transactions with instructors, and with co-ops, it's $1.8 million of revenue transactions. Now moving on to the HSC online classroom program. Market research, we found the average American household has 3 computers, with 65% of those Americans having internet access. This means this data shows that the potential for these customers to access HSC's online program, basically they already have the equipment needed to consume this service. HSC's found companies providing such online services charges roughly $200 to $300 per course. Now, instead of charging a per course model, HSC is actually going to employ a subscription-based model where homeschoolers have unlimited access once they become members to the HSC's online classroom program. Now, in the online classroom subscription model, members pay $100 in membership fees annually. They have unlimited access to all the classrooms online. And with our forecast, we see that we would be growing on a 20% growth from 2019 to 2020 if we sustain the membership from 100 in 2018 to 125 in 2019 to 156 members in 2020. The analysis of our product and technology as it relates to the services we provide, HSC found that the transition from the fixed cost model, which is extremely high in membership costs, initial membership costs, to the more flexible fee-based transaction model provided the flexibility for tutors, for instructors, and co-ops to process their purchase orders with a small fee and not incur a large membership fee initially. Switching to this model, our financial analysis, we forecasted that HSC found the fee-based model actually produced a higher yield in revenue as well as a higher net income than prior to the fixed cost model. Second, HSC intends to grow its portfolio of co-ops. This is going to be done through hosted workshops. These workshops are meant to educate and promote the registration and new development of co-ops operating under the HSC co-op brand. Right? We've gone through some interviews with subject matter experts in the homeschooling field, and we've confirmed that the need for co-ops is there. There's a growing need there, but unfortunately, market research we found is to enter into this new segment, for co-ops at least, the learning curve is extremely high, the administrative burden is high, the registration of multiple federal and local agency is deterrent. So with that, we believe that the HSC co-op workshops, we believe that we can capitalize on this market, we can leverage our existing business along with our services and systems platform to help develop new co-ops. HSC intends to broaden its service offerings to include virtual online classes. These online classes will still be flexible for the homeschooler. Instructor-led online classes will be using real-time video and audio technology to engage the homeschooler. Homeschool students will still be able to learn at their own pace. The Homeschool Coaches website will provide downloadable lessons, lectures, and notes, and suggested homework assignments for the students to download and work at their own pace. But anytime that they need, they can log on to one of the live interactive sessions and interact with the students and instructors in their class. Real-time instructor-led online classes provides homeschoolers a fast way to get responses back from instructors instead of just waiting for email, and interaction between classmates that are virtual online as well as in the presence of a live class. And lastly, the student can log on to these classes through any internet-capable device. For the marketing and sales strategy, HSC plans to establish us on 3 market fronts. The first market front would be the shift from the fixed cost model to the more flexible fee-based transaction model. And we already seen that it yields a greater competitive advantage, not only just for the company itself, but also for the instructors, tutors, and co-ops that we are affiliated with. That higher volume of purchase orders going through our company would now produce more revenue and more net income, right? So with the change to this market strategy, we anticipate the purchase order volume to increase not only from instructors, but also co-ops. And you can see it through the chart, the 2018 to 2019 to 2020, we see a steady incline upwards towards a higher volume of purchase orders going through our system. On the second front, the marketing and sales strategy plans to focus on strengthening the co-op partnership base. HSC will market the co-op workshop as a turnkey solution to bypass any administrative burdens and the cost of operating as an independent co-op. Operating under the HSC branded co-op will provide them immediate access to our schedule systems, our classrooms, our tutors and instructors, as well as any affiliated partnerships we have in our network. The co-op will have the ability to process and run purchase orders through any charter program through the HSC accounting systems and process their purchase order on a per order basis. On the third front, the marketing and sales strategy will focus on the emerging field of real-time online virtual classrooms. There are several key benefits and features that we would highlight with this marketing strategy. One would be the talented pool of instructors and tutors we have. Second would be that the online classroom program still affords the same flexibility and customization as traditional homeschooling. Homeschoolers will continue to learn at the most effective pace. The homeschooler will interact real-time with their online classroom from the convenience of their home or facility with any internet-capable device. And lastly, the homeschooling parent and child will have the options to stream and record live sessions with tutors and instructors to replay at a convenient time later on. Now, in our market demand analysis, HSC market research found that tutoring companies and independent instructors were in high demand amongst the homeschooling community. This is due to the fact that homeschooling parents only really belong to either one charter program or one homeschooling co-op. Due to the lack of multiple affiliations, the homeschooling parents is limited to a confined pool of instructors. This is where HSC would benefit and seize this opportunity. Homeschool coaches, in our market survey, we found homeschoolers demand more of online education than just downloadable self-study, self-paced course curriculum where students interact over email or pre-recorded video. And then lastly, while homeschooling parents prefer one-on-one sessions with tutors and live interactive classes where children may socialize amongst their classmates, online classrooms that HSC provides would provide a real-time interaction between the instructor and the fellow homeschooling students across the internet that best meets their options and their needs. Now, in regards to advertising and sales, HSC will continue its word-of-mouth advertising campaign that has been working really well for us. But we also have two major platforms that we would advertise through. The first of which would be focused on charters and co-ops. HSC plans to bring the roadshow of services that we have to the homeschooling conventions and display what we can do for them to help them in the services. And then the second major platform that we're going to tackle is through online. This could be presented through the HSC website or social media venues such as Facebook, Google, or Yahoo groups. So our financial projections are based on the following. We know that tutors and instructors generate on average about 60 purchase orders during the calendar year. Co-ops, they generate about 125 purchase orders during the calendar year. And with HSC moving to the subscription model for its online program, we'll be charging $100 per month. We estimate that there's going to be a one-time startup cost for the HSC online classroom program, roughly about $40,000. Along with that would be the Amazon Web Services that we would need to host the online classroom program, and that's roughly $600 per month. And then through the HSC Co-op program, we're going to need facilities to display these workshops in seminars, so that cost would be roughly about $500 per month. Now, all our forecasts are based on the assumption of the marketing efforts will increase our demand in our services. First of which, the number of instructors would be increased by 30% each year for the next 3 years. The number of co-op partnership would increase by 50% each year for the next 3 years as well. And then the onboarding of 100 subscriber initially, and then with an increase of 20% each year of additional membership for the next 3 years. Here's our income statement forecast. The key takeaway here is that moving towards the subscription model, as well as the shift to the fee-based transaction model, we can see that our total revenue for 2018, 2019, and 2020 dramatically increases. The 2017, that's our revenue projection to the end of the year, and that's based on the fixed fee cost model. This is the income statement forecast for our operating expenses. Two things to highlight here. The instructors expense, that's still relatively high, but as we move to the transaction model, we find that the revenue generated offsets this quite a bit. The second is the two major initiatives we have with the workshop facilities and the online program. That increases our expenses, especially the online classes. You can see that there are significant expenses there, but as we ramp up in subscribers, we anticipate that to be offset as well. As we wrap up our income statement forecast, the key highlight here is that in 2017, you can see that net income is relatively flat, and that's due to the fixed cost model. As we move to 2018 and have two major initiatives incorporated into the 2018 calendar year, you can see that the move towards the fixed cost model to the transaction fee-based transaction model dramatically increases our net income. Here's our cash flow forecast. Two highlights here. You can see that net income dramatically increases as we shift from 2017 to 2018, and the other highlight is that our cash flow, you can see that it dramatically increases as well as we shift from 2017 to 2018. We have more operating cash flow to work with for the 2018, 2019, and 2020 calendar year. To wrap up our cash flow forecast, you can see the initial investment, capital investment of $75,000 in 2017. But as we move to 2018, you can see that we are net cash flow positive, which is a positive sign to help us run the business. Here's the fund allocations for the $75,000 capital investment. We have the HSC online classroom program, and that's broken down into two parts: the online classroom infrastructure and Amazon Web Services. You can see that it's taking up 44% for infrastructure and 32% for web hosting services. For the HSC co-op workshops, that is the remainder 24% that we'll be using that funds for that initiative. So here's the conclusion. We found that the market demand prospect, at least historical data, has shown us that from the Department of Education, we found that the homeschooling segment still grows at a rate of 7 to 10% annually. In HSC's own field research, we confirmed this by we seeing high demand in co-ops and instructional classes from the homeschooling community. So we believe the homeschooling community is a segment that has great potential in financial opportunities. In respect to competition, this is still an emerging homeschooling segment. Currently, there's no defined market leader, but HSC believes the company has made significant inroads to distinguish itself as the local Southern California market leader. The company believes that it can make use of the same model to scale as the company expands its footprint to other homeschooling regions. In regards to strategy, HSC key strategy is to continue to grow the business in other regions, expand its core services to grow its client base, and to enter online classroom segment to capture more market share. Resources wise, the company needs $75,000 in capital investment. This is to add 2 core services and expand its expand its business. HSC co-op workshops will triple the number of co-op partnerships, which is a key business driver to increase volume and revenue for the business. The HSC online classroom program will provide another avenue of homeschooling customers to consume our services. And we also believe that this is going to be a great potential for another stream of revenue. The financial forecast for 2018 for HSC will be cash flow positive, with sales forecasted to increase nearly 35% by 2019 and nearly 60% by 2020. Under the new fee-based transaction model, net income is forecasted to increase at least 30% year over year until 2020. And lastly, the risk, opportunity, and sensitivity. HSC has proven its business models to be sustainable and scalable as operations expand. We believe the company continues to see opportunity to increase market share in the homeschooling segment as it plans to capitalize on these opportunities by enhancing the company's core services. Thank you for your time in reviewing this presentation. I look forward to your feedback. Have a nice day, everyone.